It's the PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2021 East League. It's been 3 weeks running, and we're finally into just 3 days of play from our top 16 teams across those 3 weeks. And those teams will be participating for a chance to get into our global finals, our grand finals, kicking off in January. But you got to be top 9 at the end of these 3 days to make it happen. I'm Jason Kaplan, joined by Maxman and Kalars there on the end.
Welcome everybody to the kickoff of the PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2021 West League Finals. We have waited 3 weeks to go ahead and get to this point.
Only 9 teams from the East, 6 teams from the West, and 1 team coming in from India made it into the PMGC Grand Finals. And with $6 million on the line, every team was playing all in for their piece of the pie.
He's gonna get the dog at the finish, down the white, and he falls in the end at the Xavier. They just get the chicken dinner. All 4 remain standing. Can he slide away just like that? Nice! 5-2, huge kills on Eastern Star.
The downward game of the South Koreans ruining everyone's day.
Oh!
Brilliant from Forest. That could have been in a completely different ball game from Nova. So way too close to the wire.
I mean, Order had some moments, but it was all parabolic. The other guys need to step up around here, Jason.
And BTR, they're getting sandwiched. But it's a sandwich of death.
Maybe keep me in check here, but I feel like this is like the official end of the dynasty for Bigatron. 6 kills, Mufasa in the buggy, Bull setting it away. Where are you going? Where are you going? Said Frozen.
I mean, everyone knew the Turkish teams were strong, but to have 3 out of the 4 make it into the PMGC Grand Finals was incredible. Such dominant consistency from these players.
It is go time, now or never, into the crunch.
Through the final day in the East, Nova slipped out of first place, opening the door for Xavier from Vietnam to take a convincing lead going into the final match.
So much ground to cover. Somehow, some way, Damwon Kiev made their way into the circle itself. On the eastern building, they lost Junie in the process. A second place is all they're looking for. And now,
But Damwon Gaming, the dark horses from South Korea, they just wouldn't give up.
and they make it. Perfect timing for Damwon. They back the players off the window. They move up just as the crunch comes in. And Damwon are fighting for this top spot. It is a massive pay jump. We have found our winners, and it is Damwon to come back swinging off an almost insurmountable goal. South Korea stand tall.
After things wrapped up in the East, focus shifted to the West. Going into the last 2 matches of the tournament, things weren't looking too good for Navi.
And I feel like if Navi don't really make it in top 6, it has to be one of the biggest upsets.
Navi hunting for that top 6, trying to make their way into the grand finals. And they have a beautiful position in this zone. So Navi, this is your chance. Time to pop off. Navi have had a horrible tournament. All tournament long here in the finals and clutching it out here towards the end. A beautiful zone blessing for them, and they're taking full advantage of it.
After a huge chicken dinner in the penultimate match, Navi were looking good to qualify for the finals.
Here goes Football is pushing it onto Navi in 4th place. Tixie behind the snake in the grass. They don't see him. And who goes down? When is Tixie gonna pull the trigger?
He's gonna do route with them. He's gonna do route with them.
Oh, Tixie!
Almost got ran over. We just the 3rd one down as well. What's going on? This is too intense.
Tixie is screaming, where are you?
Still, with so much money up for grabs, every team fought to the bitter end to take home as much cash as
I can't
possible.
believe this is how it's ending up. Ghost, next Rhea. Right now, everybody in the chat, put your hands up in the air for next Rhea's hands. As they are going to be counting a lot of $100 bills, but they're going to go down. Navi, clutching it up. Where's Navi going to end at the end of this? I don't know.
With the East and West League finals concluded, and our team from India locked in, we now had our 16 teams. The field was set for the grand finals.
Biggest prize for a mobile game, of course, Esports for first place. Coming back as a millionaire team by taking first place alone in this tournament, that's just never seen before, and that's a lot of pressure.
Come on, man, $6 million on the line, but all the players that qualified were pumped.
Hello and welcome to the North America Campus Series. This is Season 2. We're getting ready to hop into our first day of the semifinals. My name is DK. With me is the one and only Max Man. Max, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, and you know the introduction of the one and only. I'm happy I'm the one and only because two Maxman would be too much for the world to bear. But no, I don't know. That was a weird intro to go for. I don't know why I went with that. But I'm super pumped to be here for my actually my very first campus series, and it's for NA. And I've been introduced to the NA scene very recently with the America's Elite League, so I'm back on the NA scene. So I'm really pumped, and I'm a bit of a noob, as I said. So you're gonna have to take me through. But I'm super pumped for what's going to be happening here.
Yeah, I do think we're in for quite a bit of a ride. We've already taken a bit of a look at the teams that we have participating, coming in over on this first day of qualifiers. Of course, it does seem to be quite an interesting lineup coming through with them. But also, we know the teams are going to be fighting to secure themselves a slot moving into those grand finals. And only 8 teams can move on from today, with another matchup coming through tomorrow then as well. But this is where we get to see what the teams are going to be bringing to the battlefield, who's going to be stepping up and looking to get those runaway performances. And of course, speaking about the runaway performances, there's only one way that we know of that these teams can get the job done, and that of course would be, you know, through making as much use of the point structure as they possibly can.
Yeah, examine the point structure. You know, do people still call it the new point structure? I think I am still hearing people calling it the new point system. No, it's the old point system now. Okay, it's been here for like 2 years almost, so we can call it the old one. But yeah, of course, you're going to be aiming for those chicken dinners. But man, if you're an aggressive team in the lobby, I think it's fair to say these are not pro players, these are not pro teams, right? So if you have a playstyle that sets you heavily apart from the rest of the lobby, you could come back into these games with, like, you know, 15 points from a chicken dinner, plus also, you know, 15, maybe even a 20 elimination bomb. I mean, it's been happening around some of the few PMPLs in the world currently. So, man, I think we might see a few teams at the top just pop off and just say to the other teams, like, yeah, go back to the lobby. Sorry, it's only top 8, and we're going to make it.
Yeah, I mean, because, like, I have to agree with you, right? We've both been having a look at the PMPLs, looking at what the teams have been doing, and we've been seeing teams just popping off so aggressively, coming in with some absolutely insane clutches, you know, just ranking in those 30 bombs, just dropping one after the other. And I'm curious to see what's going to be happening on the collegiate side of it, right? Are we going to be seeing a kind of similar approach from the teams looking to step up to those challenges, looking to kind of keep the tensions high And, you know, it's teams that are going to be fighting it out from the universities based in North America. So that's going to be the USA as well as Canada. And they're going to be fighting to get themselves, you know, up into those finals to walk away with the title of the winners for Campus Series Season 2. So I do think it's going to be quite exciting. We also know that there is a beautiful bit of a cash prize on the table as well for the teams to be working towards. So I think it's going to be opening quite a few interesting avenues for the teams as they make their way through on the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be able to see exactly what they're going to be trying to perform throughout the next few days of play, of course. And if you do get yourself the first place, it's going to take a few bucks in your pocket. Maybe buy yourself a, just recommendation, maybe an Asus phone. I think that's a pretty good investment. Just saying, if you want to try and step up your mobile gaming experience, that might be the way to go around it. But I'm really intrigued, right? Because I think we got some players, some teams that are coming back from the last season potentially also, and I'm intrigued to see if those players in particular can do really well. One player that I have on my list I'm really intrigued to see play actually is going to be now the hit list, which are currently playing in PMPL NA. Unfortunately, not with a lot of success. It's very unfortunate to say. They're currently in last place was K19, but it's PMPL, right? You still get a little bit of experience. You should be normally a little bit ahead of the lobby when it comes to this, right? So hit list, one of the few teams I'm looking at, like, okay, these are potential contenders. Is that big question mark right now, but I think that they're one of the few teams here that, with that experience, could be a big surprise.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be seeing how the teams are going to be handling themselves as they do start to make their way into not only our first match, but of course the 3 matches that they have lined up for today. And I think on that it would be a good shift now to take a quick look at what the schedule is and what we could be expecting to see at least, you know, structure-wise coming in from the teams. So having a bit of a look where they've started and where, of course, they are looking to head themselves into. So yeah, let's have a look at the schedule to see and just get a little bit of a better idea as to, you know, what we could be expecting to come through and, you know, what the road is that the players have already come through, because we know this is the semi-finals, right? They've already fought their way through those quarterfinals to get themselves into this position.
Yeah, I mean, how many players, how many teams was it at the very start, right? Because this tournament started season 2 is, actually I got the numbers right here, 486 teams initially signed up for the tournament. That was 27 groups total, 80 teams per group, and then it went down directly to the amount of teams that we have currently here, which is going to be 18 plus 18. I'm really bad at math, but I'm going to say 8 plus 8 says 16, 1, 2, 3. It's a certain amount. I really try, but I'm really bad with like math on the fly. Okay, even just simple math additions. Like I don't know why I struggle to do that. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that was a lot of team at the very start.
36, yes.
So yes, okay, there you go. Thank you very much. I appreciate the help right there, DK. But yeah, so the cream of the crop is basically what we have currently in the semifinals, and we're going to be even having the cream of the crop, if that's a sentence, going into the finals next week, so it's going to be even more interesting then. But yeah, overall, I'm really intrigued to see how teams are going to be approaching this one. We're going to have a 3-map rotation per day, but finally, with a little bit of delay, but it doesn't matter as long as it comes up. That's what's important. DK going to have our map, tournament format here, and where we are right now standing is at the semi-finals. But do not let the numbers juke you, because we do not have 28 teams. We actually have 36, as said by good old DK, divided in 2 groups of 18 teams, which normally competitive, right? We have lobbies of 16 teams. DK 18. I'm intrigued to see how it's going to happen, because some hot drops might be happening around the map.
Oh, yes, indeed. I mean, I have to agree with you. It's going to be super interesting to see what will happen with 18 squads making their way in towards that battlefield. But I mean, looking at these numbers, right, starting from 486 teams, funneling that down all the way down to only 36. I mean, that is quite a process that the teams have made their way on through, and there's going to be one more shift to come through. As we can see, of course, top 8 teams from each group advance into those grand finales, and of course they are fighting for their share of the $8,000 being up for grabs. And of course, we are going to be starting it off with a little bit of that Erangel action, so good rotation, all 3 maps being played, and this is where teams now can show which map is their strongest, because we know this is kind of a thing, right? We have some teams that are just monsters and they perform exceptional on all 3 games, all 3 maps. And then, of course, we've got other teams that perform, you know, better on certain maps. So we're definitely going to be seeing what the teams will be bringing forward as they make their way on through. But, of course, also, we know the teams are going to be making use of the point structure, the age-old point structure, as you said. You know, it's not the new points anymore. It's still the same one that we've been seeing for quite some time. How long have we had this have we had the point
Yeah,
structure that
about 2
we're
years.
currently using?
About 2 years.
Wow.
I think during World League it was different. I think it was 20 points per chicken dinner, but like after that it went down to 15, which I think is a better point system. Okay, I think 24 win, a little bit too much to my liking. So at least we're going to calm things down in that regard. But here we go. We're using the new / the current / the whatever the hell you want to call it. It's completely valid. 15 points per chicken dinner, then it goes down to 12, 10, 8. It trickles down right to 13th position, because if you get to 13th and below, you get 0 points. And I believe that if you go even below 16th, because we have 18 teams, you actually lose points. No, it's not true. I'm lying. But you definitely don't want to be in 17th and 18th, because that's even worse for the morale, and you definitely don't want to be down there. But also, the one thing, and we talked about it a little bit already on the pre-show, right, DK, that 1 point per elimination. Very important, and we said it, if you got some teams that are feeling very confident, very hot in these 3 games today, they can get a majority, if not even 2/3 of their total points in eliminations alone if they really pop off. So it might just be like, oh, 1 elimination, 1 point, it's not too much. Well, adds up. It really does add up over time, so you better keep that in mind, because some teams might qualify purely based around how many eliminations they got.
Yeah, and I mean that is a strategy that we've been seeing coming through from, you know, teams that are looking to be super aggressive but don't necessarily manage to get the much required placement points to add on top of those eliminations. So there's going to be a few interesting plays still to make their way into the battlefield, as the teams will have the opportunity to utilize the living heck out of the point system. And I mean, I'm expecting some pretty tough performances to come in. I mean, as we saw, right, out of 486 teams, we're down to 32. So this is telling me something, that the teams are, you know, deserving of their position right here in towards our semifinals. And it's going to make for a pretty crazy day, though. I even think tomorrow is also going to be a pretty crazy day, as we've got another team stepping up.
Yeah, I mean, we're tomorrow going to have an entire different lobby of 18 teams joining us, going to be same time, same place. So if you got your team you want to support in that group, definitely do not forget to join us. But also, one thing that's very important, DK, is to go follow us on social media. PUBG Mobile Esports NA has got a multitude of social media platforms that have been created over a multitude of different social media platforms. That's a bit weird how I said it, but you get the point. And we got a new YouTube, we got a new Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and also TikTok. But the TikToks and the Facebook are the esports channel, the global ones. But yeah, it's really cool. I think that the growth from NA, PUBG Mobile Esports, in the past few months has been really important, and very great to see like bloom into what it is today, and it's getting better as time goes on. So if you want to join the hype of PUBG Mobile Esports NA, a lot more's coming your way. PMPL NA is still currently happening. You also do have the America's Championship around the corner, but most importantly, you're here right now with us for the Campus Series of North America, and that's what it's all about. But DK, before we jump into anything a little bit more specific, you know, map related or the games itself, we looked at some of the teams, got some pretty important big names here. But you did Season 1, right? And as I said, I'm the newbie, you're the experienced guy here. Are there any names, any players, any teams that you're looking at right now and like thinking these have been teams that have proven themselves in the past and can be a contender here?
Well, there's one name that stands out for me, and that is going to be Mavericks Esports, right? I'm trying to figure out why that name is just drawing my attention, but it's
just the name.
It's definitely pulling, right? No, like, okay, because not because of any strange, you know, meaning behind that,
I was waiting
right?
for the lore.
No, but it's just the fact that I feel like I've seen them before. Like, that name is just sticking in my head, right? Now, I'm trying to recall if I saw them, if it was in the previous season of the Campus Series itself, or if it was somewhere else maybe. But definitely looking at what we've got here, it's definitely a name that does pull my attention quite a bit. So that's one team that I'm going to be looking at. Why? I honestly can't answer the question. I don't know why I'm going to be watching them, but it just feels, you know, you just get that feeling. It's like, I got to watch these guys, and that's what it's going to be. And that's what I got. So, you know, Mavericks it is. I'm going to be watching Mavericks today.
Okay. When I think Maverick, I think Logan Paul. Is that a good thing? I don't know, but that's just what comes to mind right away. So we'll see if they have such a good impression that I just forget about Logan Paul, which I won't. You know what? I won't say no to that. If you can just make me forget about him entirely, and I just remember the team that played here in the Season 2 of North America Campus Series, I would be over the moon. We'll see. one team that I did mention that I'm really hyped to see play here is going to be Hitlist, of course, with that PMPL experience. Is that going to bloom into something even bigger here in the Campus Series? That is what I think a lot of people would potentially expect, and hopefully the players of the team also are expecting to be on top of their game here and to qualify in the top 8 players of this Group A lobby. We'll see how things are going to go, but otherwise, if I'm just basing it around the name like you did, DK, I'm going to go with NA Cloud69, and I think I don't even really have to explain why. Okay, I think it goes by the name, why I chose the team, but I think with a team name like that, you should have a pretty good impact on the battleground, so we'll have to see how things are going to go. But yeah, we're going to get normally started on our first game of the day pretty soon, but one thing that's very important here, DK, is in the map rotation, we're doing one map of each. We're doing one Miramar, one Erangel, one Sanhok. One thing that is very disappointing, though, and I did not want to voice this because this is a very frustrating thing that I've been having on my shoulders for the past few months, DK. And I've been very depressed because of it, and I'm very sad. I've been seeing a therapist. I've been asking Jason Kaplan if he could help me and potentially try and make things work out. But he told me, no, Max, man, screw you, word for word, because we are not having Vikendi. And that's the point I was trying to get to. Nova Kendi, aka the best map in the game, is not here. It's snowing in the background right now. I was like, oh, it's snowing. Maybe it is going to be Vikendi, but I guess it's just dust from Miramar, so I'm very sad. But yeah, Nova Kendi, so it will come back one day, DK. I have hope. It will.
Yeah, it definitely will come back. And of course, you know, just to remind you, Max, once again, just to kind of, you know, rub that in a little bit. We're not going to be having any Vikendi, but at least there is going to be a little bit of Miramar, so at least today you will get to cast some Miramar action, you know, because usually when I'm casting with you, something happens and then there's no Miramar for you.
I don't know. I guess I can see the sun of Miramar as like snow if I really want to. I mean, I got glasses, so if I take them off, maybe I'll confuse them. Like, oh, Vikendi's back. That's pretty cool. I didn't know Vikendi had like a big mountain to the west. Like, I didn't see that before. That's a cool map update. But yeah, we'll see. Of course, one map of each. On the more serious note, one map of each. So it gives ample opportunities to the teams that are good on specific maps to, be good, get good, as they say in the game. In the gamer terms, I'm sure it's in an urban dictionary, but. One thing that does scare me, and this is more of like a negative thing, and I don't really bring this up too much in tournaments, you know, like finals and stuff, because you want to really say like, oh, whoever wins the team, whoever wins this is like the best team, etc., etc. In the semifinals, is more the case of whoever pops off the most qualifies. I think it's fair to say you get one chicken dinner, you're in. All right, I think we can both agree on that one, DK. One win, boom, you're golden. Maybe not just a win and 0 eliminations. Like you probably want to get a few elims, like 10, 15, will be good enough. So I'm really looking at teams that are going to try and pop off, but that's the issue. If you're a really good team that's good on long-term tournaments that are consistent, it's a good quality to have, but kind of set that aside and just put your focus on, let's get to late game, let's shred the lobby, let's get big loads of eliminations in one game, and that's it. We qualified in the finals. The finals is 2 days of play. That's 6 games total. You have a lot more time to showcase consistency and how good you are on the long term. Here, that's not the case. Focus on reaching at least a top 3, and normally that should be enough for you to qualify yourself in the finals.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of hard work right out of the gate, but it has to stay consistent over the 3 games because, as you said, right, that's the only opportunities that they'll have. But looking again at the teams list, I do see one team in today's group that we did see coming in on the first season of the Campus Series, and that is, of course, the players there from the hit list. So curious to see where they're going to be finishing on through in this time around, because we know last season they made it up into the finals. So there is a bit of an expectation coming through there for the hit list to try and replicate that performance to make it up into finals once again. But still, you know, it's going to be an open table here, looking to see who will be stepping up, who will be bringing in those dominating performances. And I'm open to be surprised, right? Because that's what I like about these first days. We can come in and say, you know, oh, they've done this, they've done that, but it's the first day, it's the first time that they all play on the same lobby, and now we get to see how they all kind of interact with each other, where those rotations go. Is there going to be any bit of that hot drop action coming through? Could there be any contention in any of the locations? So I think it makes for a very entertaining start, at least, to the day, to see especially what our first map of the day will be bringing in.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Right, I think the entirety of today and the tournament is going to be pretty interesting prospect for which teams will be able to step up big time. Though we did hype up hit list a little bit, right? Is also important to keep in mind that currently they did not qualify to a single super weekend, so No, there's a chance also for the other teams to bring the upset and take down the pro team, quote unquote. So we'll see how that's going to go. Yeah, I'm hyped. We're taking a lot of time before we do actually jump into the game. So we did sign a contract saying that we had to have a certain amount of time on camera. So it's just we're here. We could start the game now, but it's just DK and myself that are keeping you guys to look at our. I was going to say beautiful faces, but in my case, I'm just going to say my face because I don't think I can describe it as beautiful. So we'll just move on with that. But yeah, yeah. Look, DK's even posing, man. He's looking good. But yeah,
but you can see PMPL was a good time. PMPL was good. Hence the, yeah.
Actually, talking about PMPL, that's why I was going to bring the topic next time. Well, next time. Right now. Next time is right now. I want to ask, like, in terms of metas right now, because Western Europe, the tournament I've been covering, PMPL Western Europe, like, we have our very own set meta over there. How's the meta been so far in, like, Africa? Is there anything that really stands out that we could potentially like to see some teams bring over to the campus series over here?
Well, from the Africa side, so Africa is usually, relatively aggressive with regards to the usage of the utils, as we've seen in the previous PMCOs, which you also did with me. But they've toned it down a little bit, right? Not a lot, but now they focus more on just pushing up with pure aggression, just using those weapons coming in and just, bulldozing their way on through, right? That is a kind of performance that we saw coming in. But also a few of the other strats that we had was where the teams that usually come in to take the winner chicken dinner, around about that fourth phase, are just hanging on the edge of zone. We don't see them move all the way in. They're just playing that edge, just waiting there for most of the chaos to kind of get wrapped up, and then they jump in and go like, oh, thanks for the chicken.
Do they actually say that? Is it like forced?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. If they don't, I'll add the sound effects myself.
Okay. I mean, as a war cry, no, I think it's cool. I mean, they're doing rugby right for the All Blacks, so I'm just saying, maybe that'll be a cool war cry actually to see from a team like actually having the war cry, like the ACAF on the All Blacks. I don't know. I like rugby. I'm just going on a little bit of a tangent here. Intrigued to see, but yeah, gonna see of course how things are gonna go. I'm hearing that the game might be starting shortly, so we'll have to just keep you guys busy and entertained for the time being. If I want to keep you guys entertained, I could just talk about anime all day, but probably not what we're going to do. But yeah, otherwise intrigued to see how things are going to go. DK, question for you. I like asking this question when I'm trying to fill some time here. If you could have any movie, show, anime, book, like whatever you want, have a crossover with PUBG Mobile, like we saw with Jujutsu Kaisen, like Warframe and stuff, what would that be for you?
Pokemon. 100% Pokemon. I don't know why, but Pokemon. That's what I want to see.
You know what? I'm disappointed that I never even thought of that before. But you know what? That's a good one. I really like that. Yeah, but Pokemon, I don't know how you would do a Pokemon crossover actually in the game.
I also don't know.
What way?
I mean, the nades can be Pokeballs, right?
I mean, could that? I don't think the creators of Pokemon, to not state their name, would be okay with that. I don't think that's very family friendly in the sense. But hey, I would like it. I would pay for that. I would like that a lot actually. The one I was gonna say personally for me would be One Piece, because I'm a big One Piece nerd. I love One Piece. Best anime of all time. And actually, very interesting fact. You might not know this, DK. The voice actor of one of the characters of One Piece has already done a voice card in the game. Like, I don't know what they call, like the voice cards where you actually have the voiceover. Has actually done a voice pack for the game, but not as the voice of one of the anime characters of One Piece, but as another anime character. So there you go. That's just a little bit of a extra spice on there. I don't know. It's just story time. We're just going on a rant right now. But yeah, any interesting topics otherwise you'd like to jump on before we jump into the first game here? Hopefully soon.
No, just waiting to see what the action is going to be bringing in. I mean, we've been seeing so much PUBG over the past few weeks, and of course, nothing better than to add on a little bit more PUBG action on top of all the action that we've already been having. As the teams get ready, I'm pretty sure the lobby is now just shaking with excitement to see what that flight path will bring, where the zone's going to be going, and what the teams will have to work with. And I mean, if we think about it, I do think that there is going to be a little bit of that potential hot drop action, right? Because the teams have already played against each other coming through the qualifications, and now as they make their way up into semis, I do think we are going to be in for quite a bit of a ride coming into today's matches. So yeah, I've got my fingers crossed. I want to see some early game engagements, but also I want to see dynamic movements coming through. Teams really utilizing their position in those zones, getting themselves into good positions in the next phase.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about teams that played against each another in the qualifiers. That was 486 teams. I don't know if every team remembers each another to that point. So, but I believe at least a little bit of VOD review has potentially been done by some of the teams. Even though we're not like this is not a professional circuit, so teams maybe don't have much time. I mean, it's campus series, right? Like study beforehand. Study first. PUBG Mobile comes after. Even though sometimes I would like to say PUBG Mobile first. Study, priority, focus on that, guys. But yeah, it could be important, and one thing that we did bring up a little bit at the start of the show, right, was the fact that we don't have 16 team lobbies here. We're gonna have 18 teams lobby, and maybe not as much time to do that VOD review as we said. So I do believe hot drops are going to be happening. The main issue with that, right, is that normally in like your PMPLs or your 1 week, 2 week long tournaments, you would have the time to adjust around potential hot drop, because like, oh, the first game didn't work out, boom, let's fix it. Here, if you're in a hot drop and you get eliminated right away in like a hot drop in, I don't know, boot camp or Yasnai Poliana or Pachinki or whatever, like that's going to really hurt your chances. That's 1/3 of your points to qualify right away out of the window. So hopefully that's not going to be happening, but I do hear in my headset right now that we're ready to jump into game number 1 right now or very soon. That's all I'm hearing right now. So we should be getting ready. So please stay tuned. The game is ready, and we are ready as we have someone actually dropping down into the good old map of Wrangle for game number 1. DK, we're here to heat things up.
Yes, indeed. Here we are making our way right on down into that first lovely Wrangle to kick things off. Of course, we can see a little bit of that more edge play coming through here for the teams up in towards Kameshki, I believe this is. But now, I mean, we got to see what that map does as well, right? To see where that flight path has gone and where the teams have decided to drop on down. Because, as we said, right, 18 teams in the lobby, 72 players. I'm sure that there's going to be contention coming in somewhere on this map. At least for RGE, up in towards Kameshki, it is going to be nice and tranquil. They can go about their looting business, get themselves set up. Ooh, that looks exciting. While they wait for the next one.
Oh, he's got the new skin. Is that I think that's a new Royal Pass skin. Oh, I really want that. That one looks sick. But yeah, I think that here, normally Kameshki, I'm not a big advocate for dropping Kameshki, dropping Zaki, dropping those kind of locations. But because the lobby is so stacked, man, it's a valid option. I would completely agree. I would even potentially drop Stolber if I was really forced in this type of lobby, so I'm not really too surprised. But we are seeing the KO feed already light up a tad. We've already seen some eliminations coming on through. Godlike is already going to be secured away for UL. And man, already 2 eliminations coming over to the side of Div. So things are already heating up in what I believe it's Lipovka. We're seeing a Lipovka hot drop. Oh my word, what's going on right here? As Agdas going to have to try and heal off on the side. Unfortunately, it does seem like they're severely undiluted. SX is pushing right now with an M16. Really not the best of early game weaponry you could play around with, but seems like he doesn't really have an option. On the other side, I believe I just spotted an AKM. So in the fight, when it comes down to it, the AKM should be mightier than the M16, but they're going to push together to overwhelm the AKM. Nice damage going to be sprayed on down, though. Does get prone. Nice drop shot. Switch it over to the shotgun, and he gets it connected, but the nade comes back. What a reverse engage. And that's it. They're going to try and secure those 2 extra eliminations, man. Everything is falling off, and what a turnaround for UL.
Yeah, definitely turn around, and of course, up comes Sam, finding another hit on through into Bobo. And now it is going to be Raid Dog looking to push in to get that squad wipe. Have to act super quickly. Sam about to get that res pulled off. Now is the moment. Get it in, get it in. Off they go. Oh, but unfortunately, it is Deadly Doves that gets sent first.
Yeah, the fact that he was able to get the res, he actually tanked 1 bullet right in front of his teammates. So that res did actually work out big time. Took a little bit too long to go for the push. Maybe 1 nade if you had a nade, but the main issue, right, was that they were underlooted. But here we go, SK99. Spotted out by Hellcat. Right into the car. That's the easiest shot I've ever seen. Nice headshot connects. Down onto a slither of HP. He's just going to reload that one. 30 bullets. Only needs to connect 1, and that's the easiest play in the book you could ask for. But man, a lot of players playing shotgun, really showing that the looting stage has been a little bit overseen and almost forgotten about. Like, players are just going for the elims. These are not casuals, these are not bots. These are real players, unlike me. I'm a bot, but that's another point.
Yeah, we can have the bot party here on the caster side, but I mean, you can't really blame the players for pushing in with the shotties, right? It's early phases. There's a lot of that hard drop action coming through, and they have to just grab whatever they can get their hands on, get in the action to try and alleviate a bit more of that pressure. Now, of course, there's going to be the players here from the Fado squad also now coming up alongside one of the players from Cloud69. It is Soda Poppin. Going to be looking to pop it off, and oh, Zeus just almost walking in the way. Down they go. Oh.
Not only is my favorite team Cloud and 69, but it's also Soda Poppin. He left World of Warcraft. He was like, I'm going to give PUBG Mobile a try. Well, you know what? Unfortunately, no. Maybe you should have streamed it. Maybe the viewers would have helped you or something. I don't know. But Soda Poppin is out of the game, and that's one elimination over to FS. FS, which is the team tag for... Oh, man, I'm going to get confused with team tags. Is it? No, it's not FBO Esports. I don't know. SGHS? I'm going to get confused with the team tags. Too many teams. There was like 480 something, okay? I'm supposed to remember everyone, okay? Too much.
Yeah, it's the Fodder Squad, right? It's going to be an interesting name. It's still going to take us a little bit to get used to, but we'll get it, right? As you said, there's been so many names. It's difficult to remember all of them, but, we'll piece it back together piece by piece. And of course, speaking about that, it is going to be the players here now from the NA Cloud69. Looking to rotate up towards Stolber, or potentially just past it. As you can see, Stolber currently sitting up towards that right-hand side. And we've got the lovely Saverni down below over onto the far left-hand edge. But now, again, right? Position. With the sheer number of teams we've got, that's what you're going to have to play on.
Yeah, see how these rotations are going, because normally we would have like a map feed to see where teams and where the circle are. We do not have that information, so we are blind going to this. We have as little information as the players, so we're going to make guesses based on what we've seen rotation-wise. Seeing this rotation from Cloud69, this is a rotation a lot of teams will pull off. If it's a very northern circle for phase 1. You rotate around, get the information on the high ground of Stolber, and you rotate in these barren lands because there's not many compounds. It's very hard to really halt these type of rotations. So far, all good for Cloud69, despite losing Soda Poppin, aka the best streamer in the world. I love you. Please sign me an autograph. I'm really not surprised with the rotation like this if it is a phase 1 northern circle. And they're just gunning for position, which I think there was a lot of already good positions they could have taken, but I guess the circle's a little bit further over to the west.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem to be that way as we have this little migration now coming through from that far edge, looking to push a little bit further on towards the west. And I mean, I do think that we could see a few contested positions currently holding up in towards the zone, but of course we'll only know once we actually have a quick look at that map itself. But yeah, now of course it is going to be still Cloud69 looking for a spot for them to call home. And yeah, as you said, Soda Poppin got poppin' and got popped right out of the game as well.
I think we made too many puns around him, so I think we're not allowed to. I think the contract states that can't make that many puns on one player's name. So unfortunately, we'll have to move on. Itachi though, not my favorite anime character. I actually don't really like him that much, but that's fine. Just a character though, not the player. The player, great, seemed like a great guy, but we'll have to see. There's RGE also going for a rotation currently down south of. I was going to say the Himalayas, but no, that is a different mountain. But we'll have to see. They're going to have to make their rotate, currently going through the open lands of the fields, seeing which position in Gatka fields they're going to aim for. It seemed like this compound is free. They scouted it out. They saw no cars, no players really scouting through the windows, so it's free real estate for now. They shall call it their home, their abode for the time being, which I think this position is great. Easy information to get around you because it's just fields. So as an early game position, depending on where it is in the circle, you can't really go wrong here.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong, and it's now just, hoping that the info that they've been able to gather so far will be paying off for them as they, as we can see, of course, also looking at what we have on the minimap, there's not a lot of information to work with just yet. But it does seem like they're just trying to move into an open position up ahead and not trying to draw too much attention to themselves, at least for the time being, because we know we're a few moments away from getting ourselves a little bit closer towards that second phase. And as we look over to the players here from the Fodder Squad, they also now need to rotate all the way out of Saverni as the blue zone has now caught up with them.
Yeah, seeing where RGE were going and where the blue currently is on Saverni, I'm speculating the circle is around Everest / Southern George Pole position, or maybe even Gatka, depending on where it is. So we're already in phase 2, and teams are going to have to start to fight a little bit more for position. Once again, as a reminder, if you did just join the stream, this is an 18-team lobby of 4 players, not your usual 16-team lobby. So things are going to heat up and go a little bit faster, quite sooner in the game, actually, we're going to be able to say. So Super Mario. It's going to be I still want to make a joke on that, but I'm not going to. I'm holding myself. Hold me, DK. This time going for the southwestern side of Pachinki is going to be Pachinki Hill, which is one of my favorite early game scouting positions in the game. All maps included, and you can't really go wrong with that one. In terms of information you can get, it's pretty hard to push if you have really good team communication and synergy. So I'm all about that. I'm cool with it. It seems like these players, despite being in Campus Series, right, which it's not the professional scene once again, are making some really good call on the early rotates.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a tough one to see where exactly the teams are going to be moving in towards. Of course, we have a few predictions also coming in. So we see in the chat that the players from FBO apparently will be picking up the victory here. That is the prediction that we've seen come through. So curious to see how that is going to be panning out. Of course, if you're watching, let us know, right? Tell us, who do you think is going to be the team to pick up the victory right here? The winner chicken dinner. We've got another shout coming in for the UTG International. So some high expectations as the teams now continue to make their rotations, getting themselves further and further situated into this next phase. But of course, it is going to be a slow and steady approach coming through from the fodder squad.
Yep, I just popped up in the chat. I completely forgot we were live. I thought we were just doing a stream for the both of us. So I'll be looking at the chat. If you guys want to say that my puns are bad, feel free. Call me out and I'll go cry in my attic later on. I don't have an attic. I don't know why I said that, but whatever. Yeah, we'll see. That's currently a lot of people have these Lambos though, and I'm not gonna lie. They're students. How can they afford it? Okay, I put like money and I didn't get it. How did? Man,
wait. You still don't have one.
I still don't have one. I don't know what every season's like a supercar. It was the McLaren, it's the Lamborghini, it's the Tesla. I'm like, I'm gonna roll a bit and see if I can get it. I never get it. And like 90% of the lobby has a Lambo. I'm like,
yeah.
The biggest flex would be to say, at least I can afford it in real life, but we all know I can't. Like, we all know I can't, right?
I mean, like because I know that you're always looking for these skins, right? We even spoke about it on one of the other broadcasts. We're like, you know, we saw, because I saw the fancy skin, and it was like, yeah, if Max was here, he'd go like, I don't have that skin yet. I want it, but I don't have it. And you know, cheers, Bob. I'm right, because you know it's like the RNG just is not working out favorably for you, and of course. What's also looking a little bit tough is still we have got a few teams positioned outside in the blue zone that are actually quite some distance away still from the zone.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tricky for some of these teams to make the rotate around. Once again, we do not see where the circle's going right now. It's about to close on to phase 3, so where's going to have to shift? We'll have to see. It's the Kinder Surprise. We'll have to see how things are going to pan out for some of the teams. Though some good positions, once again, they're going to be talking around the Gatka position is where my predicted circle shift will be good for phase 3. So these compounds are going to be pretty important, but Sam, his wheel gets popped off, does take a little bit of full damage, and what seemed like full damage is not the only kind of damage coming his way. He takes a nice bullet from Yusuf from that trusty M4. And no teammates around to really res him up, so it seems like that might be the end of the road for him on that first game. And we keep saying it, right, DK, and it's very important that you can't afford to have one really, really bad game, because that's a third of your total points down the drain instantly. You've got to try and at least get a few points every game to just even barely qualify in the top 8.
Yeah, I mean, so they have to be trying to push at top form as much as they can. Of course, now we're going to be seeing the players here from the old gangsters, looking to just pick up a few of those hits, sending them across to Cutie Pie. You can see positioned up on the hill, coming through for the players there from, I assume it's Simp. It's going to be SGHS. So there's a lot of S's in there, so we'll go with that one. But we did see a little bit of contention coming through as well, right? We did see the players there from Kamikaze position just a little bit further away. We've got the players from Team Aces now applying pressure right on towards Unique Legacy. So I'm liking these positions coming through, but still we would want to see where these teams are, well, you know, what the options are and where they could potentially look to go. And it does seem like for now it is going to be UTG International just looking to get themselves set up in these compounds. I'm loving the fact here that we see those windows getting popped out, you know, so JP just making sure that there's not going to be any obstructions should anyone else rotate into their direction.
Yeah, every time I see someone pop a window, it's like they do it with the bullets, but no, you can just punch it and you just keep your ammo. It's the best way. There we go, though. Push going to be happening onto the remaining last player of Unique Legacy. They've already got 4 eliminations, so if they go out now, it's not the end of the world, DK. They'll still get some amount of points this game, so it's not going to be that horrible, but the push is happening. Actas actually gave himself one. Oh, the third party from a distance. They just stole the kill, I thought. Oh, I thought for a second that was going to be a steal, but no, that is not the case. And that's going to be it for Unique Legacy as they get eliminated at DK in 17th.
Oh, well, that is a little bit of a tough play, but you know, we still have 16 teams left, 53 players alive, and the squad here, all the old gangsters now, just on the outskirts of Pochinki, as we can see. Of course, the players from Thimp or SGHS taking occupation of the church a little bit further up ahead, and as we can see, of course, that is now over onto the southeastern side of zone, so we've got a bit of an idea of where this phase is sitting, but we can see a few more hits finding their way in the feed there as well. We've got another prediction coming in saying the players there from Team JS, currently sitting in slot 7, could also maybe do something. So there's a lot of teams that we are going to be keeping our eyes on here to see what they will bring. And of course, Super Kid now just just moving about on the roof, making sure not to get shot.
Very descriptive, DK. This is why you're casterized. Like, he's on the roof. And that is it. I have said my truth. I am proud of my addition to the broadcast. I shall now leave. But yeah, Super Kid in a decent scouting position. It's good for the time being. I always like these positions towards the northwestern side of Pochinki. You can't really go wrong with it. It's always checking out, scouting away from the church location. Main issue with that, though, is that there's a very big chance at UK that they're going to have to move away, unless I see, like, an insane amount of hardship down southeast, like 4 or 5 in a row, which I don't really expect. So... Scouting, at least, are going to have the information coming their way. They will be able to make a very information-based rotation. After that, hopefully, we'll see how Phase 4 is going to go. It did pop, so teams should start to make the rotates right now. Oh, QB, that was a little bit too scary right there. Takes some full damage for literally no reason, but at least does have a few bandages, so can he... Oh, don't use the med kit. That's a waste. Keep the med kits. What are you doing? Oh, well, goodbye med kit, I guess. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. C'est la vie, c'est la vie. But now, right, so at least you see the players here from number 1 team holding on to this ball angle. It's not in zone, but they're going to have to try and, you know, gather a little bit of information before potentially looking to push themselves into another position all the way through towards that zone as well. We know in the finals in Season 1, they were also able to make their way into that. So there is, again, going to be a little bit of an expectation here for the players from number 1 team to get themselves in a spot where they could be contentious to move through to those grand finales. But looking at the action now starting to pop off in the feed, it is going to be the players here from Mavericks feeling a lot of pressure now descending down upon them, and it is going to be Drizzy now just looking to maybe get that res up into Lucy. Meanwhile, JS up on the hill, moving into position, looking to see if they can pick up a few of those third-party angles.
Yeah, not going to be too easy of a res. If he can smoke the side of the wall, maybe he can sneak his way into the door. I think that would be the best way. There you go. Open the door! Open it! Come on! No. Oh, he's got to go around. Close the door after us, because that's polite. That's what we do. And nice, there we have it. That's going to be normally a res coming out for Mavericks, your boys, your team here, GK. So there's still a chance for them to be able to go a little bit further, but still quite a lot of teams as a 4-man crew. It will not be an easy task at hand. And now the Blue Zone is actually going to be pushing against Mavericks. So this compound, this location, this building is not going to be a valid option for the long term. You're going to have to go north. Not only that, you're going to have to cross the road, and a lot of teams already have a lot of locations under control. So, man, that cross is not going to be easy pickings for these teams.
Yeah, definitely not going to be, but we can see at least the players here from JS leading the assault, sitting on their 3 eliminations. Kamikaze, Cloud69, Mavericks, and of course the Hitlers right there hot on their heels. But now, RGE looking for a potential angle to secure coming into this phase. And looking at the spread that we've got coming through from the rest of the teams, there aren't many options left. As we can see, it is now that feed just starting to light on up as the eliminations line up one after the other. The zone taking another shift, now heading a little bit further up in towards that northeastern side. And this is where we look to see whether or not TG will be able to get himself out of the situation. Oh, another player right there alongside them, of course, now playing in and around the vehicle, and down they go. Beautiful surprise play coming in. But now we continue down to 15 teams, making it all the way up into this 5th phase.
Man, this is so weird. This is kind of weird what's happening. There's too many cars this late into the game, just going about without any real objective in mind. Not sure really what to get from that, but you know what, we'll have to see as though more fights are going to be coming up and lighting up the kill feed. It's going to be FBO Esport, a chat prediction, if I'm not mistaken, you said earlier, right, here, DK. So we'll see if the chat prediction of FBO can actually get himself something. With Netflix will be proven to be mightier. We'll see though. Nice shots actually connecting from new player here. Going to be able to keep them away a little bit, though that mountain cross is not going to be an easy one for OG. Nice little try also with the M24, but nothing comes of it. But that's fine. He's putting the pressure down, trying to deal a little bit of hurt before they go for their own rotation. That little bit of extra damage, or that little bit of extra resources used on the opposing side might be enough for them to get some eliminations later on down the line. So can't really argue with what FBO are doing. It's a valiant effort. But back into now what we call headshot hills. It's going to be the fight running through, and man, Game Changers are in a pivotal position right now, controlling all of the southern eastern edge. They could pick up a lot of eliminations. This position is huge.
Yeah, it definitely is a huge position. All they got to do now is just look to fortify it and just pick up as much of these eliminations as they can. As you can see now, those nades getting cooked up, getting sent across over towards the players here from 4-piece. And let's see whether or not No Name and Iceberg will be able to get themselves out of what seems to be quite a challenging position. Iceberg, of course, now getting traded off. It is going to be the players now from Game Changers continuing to apply the pressure here. We got Victor also just holding on the opposite end, not being able to really get themselves out of the situation. Raiden now moving right up alongside the players there, as we can see. Oh, beautiful sprays coming through from Lombi. Picking up the knock now. There's 2 players down, a few more to go with that. It is going to be the end of the road for yet another team now. 4-piece taking several punishing blows, and it is going to be the end of the road as Bolty steps on through with that beautiful M4 spray. But of course, so many teams still scattered about. They can just continue on fighting.
Yeah, we talked about how good that position was for Game Changers, and man, they made it pay off. 8 eliminations already, and they keep dealing her. An extra elimination right there. That's their 8th so far. And it seems like on their first game, they might be looking for the double digits. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, it's only 3... I was going to say 10 games. That's a lot for today. Only 3 games today to qualify into the finals. So one big pop-off performance could be your golden ticket into the finals here of the Season 2 Campus Series for North America. Though here in Ruins, it's not an easy position, but look at that sneaky team of Game Changers. They're just wrapping around the eastern edge. Everyone's fighting. Everyone is just, they're just looking down on them like peasants, like how you guys felt in on the west. We'll just go around on the east. We'll take the position. We'll take the free real estate. And sure, you might fight, you might come out on top, but we'll have the resources. We'll have the terrain to fight around. And most importantly, we shall gatekeep you. It's Raiden. Nice little angle, but not taking the shots. Really good trigger discipline. As Zeus goes in line of fire, the spray connects, and that's one going for the flush. He is wasting no time. Game Changers here, DK, are aiming for that spot in the finals.
Yeah, they're definitely looking to bring in a game-changing approach into this first match. But as we said, the teams will have to play on their A-game all the way through our 3 matches here today. Now, of course, it is going to be the players here from FBO looking to hold on towards this western side. Down goes new player. Now it is up to Jason to hold on the defenses. Up comes the rush. Oh, and down they go. Beautiful push coming in, and it is absolute carnage. Now just once more erupting on the screen. Players here from UTG. Oh, they also now run into quite a bit of a problem here, as we can see them now getting reduced down to 1, but up comes the hits once more, as it is going to be the follow squad now taking several hits. Game Changers continue to apply their pressure. Already 10 eliminations to their name. Now they rush into the zone. Let's see whether or not they'll be able to get the jump, as we can see Raiden quickly popping out. But Game Changers looking absolutely phenomenal, still having all 4 players up. But look at that spread.
Oh, that molly was good on Blint, and he's going to push him out in the blue, and that's it. That's the elimination. 12 so far for Game Changers, and indeed, they live up by their name, changing the entirety of this game purely based around their position on the circle. And man, a 2-man split in the bottom side, 2-man split in the northern side. There is no way you take this game away from Game Changers. And only players that are going to be left is going to be 3 players against this 4-man squad, and it's not even from the same team. It's a 4v2v1. It's Bomber waiting in the barren lands of Ruins, hoping they can maybe steal away a 2nd place, but survival of the fittest right now, DK. It doesn't seem like it's going to be an easy finish for him, as now the players of Game Changers are pushing him. They want those eliminations. They're looking for the info. As Quad gets up, gets a little bit of damage dealt, but he cannot survive the wrath of Raiden as he strikes him down. And that's elimination number 13, maybe looking for 14th. But they're just rolling about because they know this game is in the bag.
Yep, there we go. It is signed, sealed, delivered. First match done and dusted. And with that, the Game Changers walk away with a beautiful winner-winner chicken dinner, and a very much deserved chicken. If we look at how aggressive they were, I mean, in the first phase, they came into the zone sitting on 7 eliminations already, and they just continue to keep the pressure up, pushing all the way through to the very, very end. And it's a great way for the Game Changers to kick off this first match of the day.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. They played Headshot Hills, I think, in one of the best ways you could expect a team that is not going to be overly aggressive against all the teams around them, but also still showing their presence. And when a team is deciding to push on them, that team synergy is extremely important. And I think there was one play in particular I loved there. I think it was Lombi, if I'm not mistaken, of the team that was holding an angle for his teammate, that was trying to escape from that situation while the blue was pushing against him. And he was defending that ridgeline. Instantly, with the player's peak or trying to chase down his teammate, instantly knock him down. Great communication, great map presence also in that late game circle, right? As I said, the peasants, the rest of the lobby, like fighting disgustingly on the western side. Like, I mean, we're not going to fight that. Wrap around the eastern side, we take control, nobody can contest our location, and Raiden in particular, like chef's kiss. That position on the northeast was spectacular, stopping everyone from the castle side of ruins to push in and get any position in the circle. Literally, a game like that, you would show me that in a PMPL, I'll be like, yeah, that's a PMPL team. Like, that split, that control in the Headshot Valley was 10 out of 10. Really good execution.
But now you know why their name is Game Changers, right? Because they come in with these game-changing players, and that is so great to see the domination being brought in by the teams already, starting it off in that first match. But now we got to see that momentum, that continuation coming through as we make our way into our later matches as well. So definitely Game Changers is going to be a team that we are going to be watching as well. And in fact, we have 3 teams from the previous season up in this group for the qualifiers. Of course, we had the players from Hitlist. We also have the squad then coming through from Game Changers themselves. And then we had another team in the mix here as well. That was, of course, going to be the players from Team Aces. So a lot of interesting new faces we see coming in. But of course, it is time for us to have a quick look and see who our MVPs are for this match.
Who's going to be, I believe, is going to be a player of Game Changers. I wouldn't be really surprised. And it's going to be Game Changers Raiden. Not really surprised. That angle he got was mental here, DK, for sure. Gave himself 4 eliminations, total of 674 damage total. And survival time, I don't know why we put in seconds, but it basically is like 24 minutes plus, something around those lines, basically, is what we can really say. But man, what a try. An MVT, most valuable team. Oh, I've never seen that before. That's a thing. That's a thing. An MVT. I think most of the time is going to be, I think most of the time your MVT is going to be like the team who won. But what
always.
They didn't, I mean, they didn't get 5 eliminations. I can tell you that much. They got way more. They are still the most valuable team because they showed some insane presence at the end. So heads up to the side of Game Changers. I think that this game alone is fair to say, DK, that they might have already just secured their spot for the finals.
Yeah, I mean, they did an absolutely phenomenal job. Loved the way that, as you've pointed out already, the way that they handled the zone. And I mean, looking back at it, they just looked so comfortable, so confident, making their way on through. There was hardly any hesitations that we really saw coming through from them.
Yeah, I mean, it was just very simple. It did not seem forced. It didn't seem like it was out of their repertoire of playstyle, right? It was just, it was a game changer for the lobby. It was not a game changer for them. It's like, yeah, this is normal. We're used to this. We do this every single day for breakfast. I wish I could say that, but I mean, that's why I'm here casting the games instead of, playing, because I couldn't do that, unfortunately. But really good stuff coming out from the entirety of Game Changers. There was some good attempt from a lot of the other teams in the lobby, I think it's fair to say here, DK. But when you have a playstyle like Game Changers, I think it's very hard to stand out in any way, shape, or form, where literally this game just felt like Game Changers against what seemed to be like 6-7 teams at the end of the game, right? It was just, it was like a PvE almost. It was Game Changers versus the environment of the map, the environment of the lobby, and really good execution. So yeah, pumped to see Game Changers, what they can do in our next games. And I mean, if they can get themselves another win in only 3 games, I'll be pumped. But I think that with a playstyle like that, it really, really could happen.
Yeah, it definitely could, and I 100% agree with what you just said. And of course, now we make our way into our rankings as well to see where the teams are. This is not only the match rankings, but also the overall rankings, all just jumbled into one, as we've only had 1 match happen so far. Of course, the Game Changers are going to be sitting right at the top on a very comfortable 28 points, with UTG International hot on their heels coming in with their 9 eliminations and 19 total points. Of course, we do see a few other teams also popping it off. We got Team JS, they're coming in with 4 eliminations. We got Unique Legacy also finishing on 4, but I'm curious to see how much of a change up we're going to be having through our 2 remaining matches.
What change-ups are going to be happening here? Of course, we're expecting a few teams to hopefully change things up, but we're going to have different maps, so it's going to be pretty hard to really bring some adaptation because it's only 1 game per map. But though, I actually have a question for you, DK. I think it's a very interesting topic here. We usually have this graphic that we like to use in PMPL, right, which is the bubble graphic, and to know how many predicted points a team should try and reach to hopefully qualify to the next stage. Here, if you want to qualify to the finals, you need to be part of top 8, which currently that would be Team JS with 4 points. I'm going to throw a bold prediction right now with how many games you have, with how this first game went. I would say if you want to qualify in top 8, you got to aim for about 25 points. I think if you get around 25 points, or it's on the cusp and it maybe goes down to a tiebreaker, or you just qualify directly into the finals. So I think that should be the goal for these teams, like 25, 30 points. You should be in. There's a very big chance of that happening. So I think it's a fair assessment. I don't know if you would agree with that predicted bubble.
Yeah, I do think 25 would be a good point to aim for, because it is still very much within reach for the team sitting on. So, you know, who knows? Maybe we could see exactly that coming through. But of course, we also have a few highlights to have a quick look at, just to remind you of the insanity we had unfolding on the battlefield. So enjoy. Hello and welcome back, guys. We're getting ready to hop straight into Miramar right here on the North America PUBG Mobile Campus Series semifinals for Season 2. As you can see, of course, we're starting off a little bit further onto that eastern side of the zone, potentially coming in from a little bit up high, as we have an interesting section of the zone lying up ahead of these teams. But again, now it's going to be for the teams to get themselves situated, to drop into their locations and wait in anticipation to see what that first initial zone is going to be bringing in.
If we see it, though, of course, DK, that's the question. Are we going to see it? I don't know. Well, it'll be a surprise, I guess. But yeah, ready to jump into our first Miramar and also last Miramar, which is still the very tricky thing of the day, I think it's fair to say, because we did see some interesting Erangel plays, but we're not going to see Erangel anymore today. So you're going to have to change things up and see if you can get yourself a big, fat W over here on Miramar. As here, going to be seeing Team RGE. At an A is Team Rage. We'll see if they got the rage. They got the chops for this game, as they are going to be dropping down towards a position a little bit over to the eastern side then of Los Leones. So some pretty decent position, pretty far away from most of the big hot drop locations I think you could initially expect. I don't know if they're going straight down to Puerto Paris, or they're just going on the roadside in one of the few buildings so they can get some easy early loot while avoiding all the early hot drops. I think this is a completely valid strategy personally here, DK, so I live for it. If I were them, I would probably do something very similar.
Yeah, I mean, because we know Impala's not far away from their current position, right? So depending on where the zone's going to be going, they could have a relatively comfortable rotational path either which way, right? Either heading towards Impala, then going east, to the west rather, or sticking to that main road, going up north or all the way down south. So they do have a lot of options coming in. But it does seem like they might be venturing all the way over in towards Puerto to see if there's a great opportunity to get some more loot going. And again, all 18 teams have found their way into the lobby. And this is one of the few times that we're going to be seeing Miramar actually being so super jam-packed.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see how the early game is going to go towards Puerto Paris, or they go. Actually, I want to ask you a question, okay? I think while the early game's happening, you know, not a lot is happening, so this is what I like to call Miramar podcast time, right? And where we just talk about random topics while we wait for the action to heat up, and that's how things are going to go. So I'm going to tell you some compound names of Miramar, and I want you to tell me how you would say it. Well, oh wait, actually, wait. Hold the thought. We got the map, guys. We got the map, so we can actually talk about some gameplay-related stuff, which is always cool that we can do. So Phase on Circle, actually more on the southern western side of things, but one thing that's very intriguing, I would say, GK, with the circle, is that you also have that cliff side over to the west. So really, when you think about it, this circle is a lot smaller than you could expect. So we could expect even more early game clashes because of where this circle actually went.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that. And it's already, as you said, making it quite limiting for the teams with regards to the playable area they have to work with. And we can see an interesting drop, though, coming through all the way around towards the side. We got the players there from UTG International, as well as the squad from Cloud69, also positioned just towards that western side of Pozo. And inside Pozo is, of course, where the players there from Core Esports are currently positioned. A little bit of contention, nothing too crazy just yet. But, you know, it's definitely a possibility. As we look also over on towards, you know, Minas Generales, it's looking pretty hot right there as well.
Yeah, Minas Generales could be an interesting location. No, when you're looking at the circle, so very interesting locations to go for is going to be the western mountains and also the southern western mountains away from Chumacera, which are very, very good positions to go for, not only for information gathering in the early game. They're relatively safe, like teams would not be ready to rotate into them without prior scouting, and if they scout you most of the time, they will not be willing to commit to an early fight, especially in the scenario of how this tournament is going. You can't afford an early lose. Can't afford to go out in the first like 4, 5, 6 teams after the lobby, so I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. So I think there's a lot of early opportunities for teams to get there, which I think they would say there's ample opportunities, right, DK, for good rotation this game in particular, because we saw that playing path. If I'm not mistaken, it was relatively northern. So that means that with this type of circle, if you want to go for a very smart big brain rotate south. Easy, shouldn't have too many altercations, and it should be a pretty easy way for you to get a really good position with very minimal effort.
Yeah, I agree with you. The southern option could definitely be an angle for these teams to, you know, consider and maybe look at being an option somewhere down the line. I don't think it's going to be likely to see the teams really bringing in much of a change right now, because as we can see, a lot of them already finding themselves relatively secured coming on through. And now it's just a matter of finding yourself not in harm's way, as Cutie Pie finds out, with some hands-on experiences, that Nate gets sent right on through. And now it is going to be a little bit of a rocky start here, as we can see. Oh, Super Kid also now coming under fire as new player now takes the hits. Down they go. And this is going to be the opportunity now for FBO to look to avenge a few of their players. But it is going to be a tough call because, I mean, look at this. Super Kid just hugging the edge of that rock, trying to see if they can pull off those angles. But a quick reposition, particularly up in towards Minas. I mean, that could be the difference between surviving the zone and getting sent back too early.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to try and make their way potentially around Graveyard area, which by foot not too easy. You want to find yourself a buggy or a party bus if you can, which seems like he did have a party bus by his side, so he can go for it. Though, hey, might be actually looking for the fight, picks up one, looking for the double. Not enough ammo in that clip for the Scar. Hits another bullet, but he gets away in time. Super Kid, what do you do? Do you push that or do you leave? Seem like he might be trying to get a little bit closer. Not going to get too much movement with that buggy, but not with that buggy, sorry, the party bus, but that nade a little bit too short. It seemed like he is a little bit too far from that fight. And he's throwing all his utility, like he really wants those limbs, but I would just say, abandon ship, you got knocked, you bought yourself some... What? That worked?
Whoa!
From that
double
far?
whammy! Wow!
Okay.
I mean, I thought... I mean, okay, now we get the name Super Kid. It makes sense, right? But I thought, honestly, Super Kid was just sending out the grenades to try and just, keep the players there at bay. But now, that strategy just completely folding in on itself.
My man's putting off a 1v3 like it's nothing. Okay, and he proved me wrong. I was like, yeah, the nade's too far, but my man knew how far it was supposed to go. And he connected those flawlessly. Are you going to push it again, though? No more nades, it seems. It seemed like they didn't have time to loot up more, so he's going to leave. You know what? That's an extra elimination in the book for his team. And they are moving out for SGHS. Did have a little bit of spray behind there. We'll have to see an elimination feed how that goes, though. Over to another fight, apparently, that's going to be unfolding. Not too easy. It's going to be Team Aces. Yusuf. Left here was Goto as a surviving teammate, but he is a little bit far away from the fight, and he's going to have to hold this one solo. Switches over to the M4. Does get some nice damage down to Slither of HP, but one more bullet connects from the leeway. Yusuf with very little to hold on to his teammate. Way too far away. Goto, can you make this fight go back in the favor of your team? Can Team Aces hold on to this fight? We'll have to see. It's now seemed like some smokes or some nades would be the good play, and he does switch over to some utility, so he has the intention to try and make something happen here. Nade, a little bit of a long throw. I'm not going to criticize any more nades apparently here, DK, so it was a nice attempt, but didn't quite connect, and he will buy enough time for Yusuf to come back and to pull off the res.
Yeah, so a little bit of a reset now coming through for the side of Team Aces. But again, this is now the opportunity for the players just ahead of them now to come in super aggressively, right? Looking for those openings, looking for those angles. And of course, it is going to be, Team JS also. Taking quite a few hits, but down they go as the shots come on through. Very, very saddening to see that happen. But of course, now the players here for RGE already sit with 2 of those eliminations on board. Aces now being in a position where they are able to create a little bit of a gap just to get themselves a little bit further away. And now it's the players from No One Team looking to see if they too can step on through. Of course, as we can see, it is already a little bit preoccupied here with the players from Hitlist holding up right there alongside them. So I'm loving this 3-point triangle of doom potentially finding its way right here in towards Monte Nuevo.
Triangle of doom. So that's a weird way to go about it, but yeah, I think I see it, no problem there. FB already up to 3 eliminations, so off to a pretty good start when it comes to those elims, but don't really have the numbers to hopefully close off a game later on, so that's going to be a rough spot to be in for them. So looking for the opportunity is going to be Stizzy77 here of Noi Team. Did I just call them Noi Team? Are we supposed to call them Noi Team, or is it number 1?
Yeah, that's a 1, not an I.
Yeah, but you've got some players that have numbers as letters. Like you got people that use a 1 as an L or an I. You got people that use like what, a 4 as an A, a 7 as an A also, I think, in Arabic countries. So I don't know. Okay, I tried. I thought, yeah, that's true. I don't know. I gave it a shot, but I failed miserably. So yeah, let's move on. Over to another fight that is going to be UTG International. Pretty good high ground position. Did spot out a few players around the corner here. It's going to be SK99, but nothing comes of it. I don't think the information was given over. So UTG have a good high ground position to hold on to. A lot of information, but have yet to be really detected by any foes for now.
Yeah, but I'm liking this setup coming through, though. I mean, look at JP just sitting there waiting for that angle to line up while the players from 4Piece now look to get themselves satisfied in those setups. We've got Burger King and the teammate a little bit further away, so a beautiful 2-2 split also now coming in from the side of 4Piece. And, I mean, looking at what they've did there, they were able to react relatively quickly once the shots from JP started finding their way on in. And now it's down to what UTG is going to look to do with this high ground position that they have. I mean, you can have the best position, but if you don't utilize it, I don't know if it's such a good position then at the end of the day. So they have to now try and bring or make something rather from this current angle. As we can see, we got Iceberg and Burger King. The rest of the squad all mobilizing themselves, but they still leave one player just up alongside UTG.
Good little position, but nothing's going to be really happening of it just yet unless the team decides to go for the push. I think we are fine. I think we're chill for now, DK. I think we're okay. But, hey, question for you. I think I haven't asked you this ever, despite us casting together for quite some time. What's your favorite job location on Miramar? Like, where do you go, usually, if you have to play?
Oh, I have told you this. It's a random spot on Miramar, all the way over on towards the southwestern side of the map. It's dead quiet. No one really drops there. So regardless if I'm playing PC or mobile, or we see nades flying in, that's where I would go. But of course, the players here from the Deadly Divs find themselves in a little bit of a sticky situation on the outskirts of Chumacera.
Yeah, a little too sticky for them to dig themselves out of, so things aren't going to work out for Deadly Divs, at least for one of their players, so that should be a elimination confirmed, I believe. There you go, he's going to be secured out of the lobby. There you have it, down to 3 for Deadly Divs. As though the rest of the team is going to be trying to take a little bit of an overview position, getting more information coming their way. Now have a few sneaky angles to work with. Might be able to pay off a few eliminations. We'll have to see how things work out. As game changes, the winners of game number 1 already up to 1 elimination, so not too much of a slow burner here. Definitely looking to ramp things up. And the cool thing I would say, DK, is if your game changes, right, you already got yourself that first big win. I think it's fair to say they potentially already qualified off the back of that first win with, what, the 14 eliminations, I believe it was. They could, if they want, just hot drop a team they see as a potential threat, right, and say, like, yeah, we don't want to see you guys in the finals. Like, we want our own share of the $8,000. So, yeah, we're going to hot drop on you and ruin your chances of making it any further. And that is a strat that has been used in the past and you should be very wary of.
Yeah, definitely have to be very wary of. And another team that also has to be wary of something is going to be that rotation now coming through from the old gangsters. As we can see them now just ahead of Mavericks here. We got Gunda, just keeping a very watchful eye, just applying a lot of that trigger discipline, not looking to tap away just yet. But they are not alone. As we can see, we have a few visitors looking to just stream on in. And again, we see Raiden holding up just over towards that warehouse. So that means, of course, that game changers are looking to push in from that more western side. But we also now have the players there from Cloud 69 as well. I'm liking the slow fade. And we saw FaZe coming in there on the mini and now starts to tap away right on towards Soda Poppin as the hits now start to land their way on through. And again, Soda Poppin, the first player once again, getting hit for the side there of Cloud 69.
I really thought the shots were not going to connect, but unfortunately Soda Poppin, once again, my favorite streamer. He's out of the game apparently already, so not going to have the chance to see him play these first 2 games on Orangle, and Miramar feels bad, man. Though we're starting to see the game, I would say, ramp up here, DK. Ready on phase 3, the circle, northern western side of the circle is actually in Chumacera, so that is going to be a pretty good position for some teams to try and move into, potentially. So far, Maverick's going to be playing that position. They did spawn into this game, though. DK, unfortunately, has 3 man. So with the lobby this stacked, this is a really big disadvantage. So we'll see if they can try and work around that.
Yeah, but they're the Mavericks, right? So that's kind of what Mavericks do, you know? come in with the odds being against them, and who knows where they'll end up. Maybe they'll surprise all of us, but now it is still a little bit of a fight over on towards that northwestern side. As you can see, a lot of contention coming up in towards Chumacera. Cloud69 taking several hits. That whole entirety of the southern side of zone being open for the taking, and it does seem like the players there from SGHS are starting to bring in a bit of a rotation heading towards the south. But up north, going to be high tensions as the teams now look to get themselves established up in towards the zone. And with that, it is going to be the end of Team RGE as they now make their way into the lobby. But again, the shots continuing to come on through, and it is going to be a little bit of a potential city fight, at least for the time being, up in towards Chumacera.
Yep, seemed like that might be the case, but there's actually two positions that I really enjoyed in this game. One is actually going to be from Kamikaze that I've gone for. You could pretty much call a 4-man split on a high ground position down southeast, so that is really well played from them. If the circle does go their way in any way, shape or form later on for phase 5, they could be in like one of the best positions and aim for a potential win here, so it could be really strong performance on them depending on how the next few shifts actually do go. The Mavericks still pushing in despite the man disadvantage. Looking for the elimination. Nice damage done actually from Drew, but doesn't quite get the elimination off the back of it. And now they're trying to take more free real estate. The spray goes down. He keeps on peeking and gets punished for it, as Drew will be able to get what could be the 3rd elimination for his team if that one does indeed get confirmed. But Drew, his teammates are not there. It's now turned to a 1v1 here. DK gets some damage once more, but the third party will ruin everything. And that's it for the Mavericks as they get swept away in 14th place.
Oh, and of course now the hit list also in a little bit of trouble here. As we can see, they are relatively exposed, and Game Changers, of course, positioned just up above them. So we're going to be seeing Lombi now trying to maybe bring in a bit of an assault there alongside Raiden, or they're going to look to reposition themselves as the zone has shifted up once again, now continuing further down towards the south. Balti looking to tap away there at Share as well. So again, 13 teams remain, 35 players still left to scram themselves up in towards the zone. And now that positioning opening up once again, as we can see, Share coming under fire. Balti just relentless, tapping away, trying to get the hits. But the old guards, old gangsters rather, having themselves a little bit more spread out and potentially having a bit of a setup, waiting for the players here now from Game Changers to come through with that rotation.
Yep, 4 eliminations. They stepped up an extra 3 eliminations since last time we've seen them in this game, and they're still as a 4-man crew, which is very, very important for this type of circle with these high ground positions. You're going to need every single player you can get if you want to be able to contest and fight for those positions later on down the line. Though, seeing how things are going out. Hit list. Talked about them. We did hype them up a little bit, right, DK, as a potential contender here, as they are currently playing in PMPL. How things were going to work out. 5 eliminations for this game. Already getting close to that 25-point bar we did mention earlier to try and make your way into the finals, though. A little bit of a spray back and forth from Burger King. I prefer McDonald's, but we'll keep that for a different conversation. Let's see how things will go for him, but really in a position that's really hard to move away from. The circle's about to move against him in the next minute and 30 seconds, so clear to say here, DK, the time is ticking. Burger King cannot afford to stay here for too long.
Yeah, they definitely cannot afford to be there, but fortunately they do have Iceberg, also just looking to just back them up a slight tad bit. Not aggressive push coming through though, so Burger King for the time being have to trying to make the best of what they have to deal with here. Iceberg, meanwhile, will be repositioning just on towards that southern edge of zone, looking to set up a bit of a gatekeep. But up north, it is still looking pretty tough now. The players here from Game Changers looking to create a bit of an opening, turning their efforts onto the players from Old Gangsters. As we can see, Goldie is quickly scoping in, looking to see if any of those angles could be available. And with that, Hitless now coming under fire once again. Raiden getting ready to start popping off once more. So far, we have not seen Raiden get any eliminations, but Balti now just lasering on through right there. Oh, beautiful hits as Karti also now gets picked up. But let's see now. Will Game Changers be able to get themselves repositioned into this next phase?
Man, Team Aces just leaps bounds forward here with the amount of eliminations they just got in the last few minutes. 6 eliminations so far to their name. The Game Changers, they're like, yeah, we don't want to work with that. We want to be first in the lobby. We want to be first in everything we do, but not for Balti, apparently. As not only does he get knocked, he gets instantly flushed away. That's why maybe want to see a team-wide push from Game Changers. They're going to regret that a tad, but they can still make things happen from their position. They can gatekeep all of the northern eastern side here, DK. So they're going to be very controlling. They're going to be a very big force when it comes to this ending. Though the circle, I mean, the Val is going to be in play, at least a portion of it. And these high ground positions are working big time for Team Aces. Up to 6 eliminations here, Goto and Yusuf. And man, despite being as a two-man team, they are shredding the competition. And they are gatekeeping like their life depends on it because, well, I guess it technically does in-game, but yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, it's a really good effort coming in here from the players of Team Aces. But now it's a little bit of a split rotation coming through, right? Because Yusuf all the way up on towards that more northern side, but this is a good opportunity as Yusuf can come striking on down with those beautiful third parties. But as you said, Gato also just a little bit further away, but meanwhile, it's going to be Coldy now just hammering in those blows as the players there from Kamikaze now get eliminated, making their way on through. Players there from the Ultimate Legacy also coming under a little bit of fire, as we can see the hits again lighting up in that feed. But Ultimate Legacy in a little bit of a challenging angle though. We got them all the way over on towards that southern side, and it is relatively exposed towards them. So they might have quite a bit of a challenge getting themselves secured into this next phase. Bobo, meanwhile, not Bobo Baggins, but just Bobo from Deadly Divs. Now going to be holding onto the shack, trying to see if they can spot any plays up towards the hill.
Though we still have 8 teams alive. Well, okay, we still have 7 teams alive right now for this circle. It's fair to say that in the next few seconds, this will potentially be even halved because this circle is not very kind to the players. Burger King, nice little angle, peeking right through the smokes. Just get 2 bullets in, so definitely a little bit of work done here. Can I use some resources from the opposing side? But it's all completely blind. It's just based on speculation where they might be running about. But that's going to be just wasting bullets by now. Game changes now, still on the northern western edge, but the circle is not going to their direction. They're going to have to go downhill fight versus Deadly Diz. There's even some off angles secured by some teams from Team Ace. So I'm not really too happy with how that's going to go, and game changes as we knew it here, DK. There was no way they made it alive from that downhill location, and they get eliminated away in 6. 5 teams now remain, and this is where the big bucks can be made from some of these teams.
Yeah, now it's time for Devastation to come rolling on through. As you can see, Iceberg also just getting caught out in the open as Yusuf hammers away blow after blow. Unfortunately, not getting the necessary amount of hits and the damage lined in, but still putting in quite a bit of a chunk into the health bar there of Iceberg. But now, look at this. The players from the side of no one going to try and hold up their defenses coming in from that eastern side. But, I mean, Team Aces... beautiful vantage point right here on the high ground, but it is going to be Cute Bear now hammering in once more. Goto also just over on towards the west, just inching their way closer and closer to that zone. Deadly Div's going to be looking to keep up a dominating position coming in from the north, but they still have to rotate back in towards the zone. Meanwhile, Cute Bear is just going to walk around, you know, picking up those eliminations, some easy points being garnered there for them. But of course, where will they look to push? As we can see, got a whole bunch of duos and even more solos now scattered throughout what is left of this map.
I like it. There's not one team that's just dominant. This is literally, basically, I would say, DK, anybody's game. Nice little utility. That nade could be good if it rolls down. Doesn't quite roll down, though. That's going to be the not connecting onto 60. Now they're going to be trying to confirm some more elims here. Deadly Divs looking to get more control on the more northern side. We're down to now 2 teams. It's going to be the final player, Goto of Aces, versus the 2 last players of Deadly Divs. 1v2. They've been popping off since the start of this game as a 3-man crew. He gets spotted away, though. The early spray comes in, gives you information over on Bobo's position. But they're all together. They're all clamped up on one another's position. No off angles, DK. That could be scary, but that nade is looking good as they chuck it over. It was actually a molly. Does push him a little bit further away. Goto's trying to change position to be a little bit more predictable. But Deadly Divs finally going for the off angle. This should be trying to secure their game.
Yep, definitely going to be looking to bring that one in. But I mean, Goto can still bring an absolutely insane push here. Let's see where these nades are going to be going. Will they find their way on towards SX? Ooh, Bobo does find a little bit of damage coming in from that nade. Quick reposition, just trying to play these edges. Want to take it as cautiously as they possibly can, but of course still looking to get a little bit closer to that edge. Once the blue zone starts closing up, it is going to be go time. This could be the Deadly Divs now just tapping away collectively on towards Goto and picking up their winner chicken dinner.
SX is really the one in the better position because you're going to be able to see he's like 10 meters away from the edge of the circle, so Goto's going to have to make a mad rush. Behind those smokes, makes it a little bit closer. 5 meters away from the blue zone, he spots him out. But the smoke is going to be dissipating in a few seconds, so he's got to speed things up unless he has more smokes. He's going to try and molly things up a little bit here. Right behind that crate. You have a molly! Use the molly! Use the molly behind the crate! It's a given! Push him away, get the spray! Behind the molly. That's not... Oh, no. Now you have to aim for the crate. He drops down and Goto will not be able to get the clutch. And that's going to be it for our second game here. Deadly did secure game number 2 here of the semifinals.
Yeah, beautiful play coming through there as they were able to hold on to that zone. I mean, had Goto sent that molly through over on towards Bobo, you know, we can play a lot of that what-if game, but unfortunately, we know the molly was getting cooked. It was just didn't go in the right direction. It actually followed that smoke all the way down into no man's land. But either way, well played to the players there from Deadly Doves coming in with that winner chicken dinner. And of course, a few points on the board to count as well.
Now, I'm sorry, I'm not playing the game of what if. I'm playing right now the game of what must have happened. Like, that's what we're going to go with right now. Pretty good series. If Marvel want to pick it up, they could do that. But, man, I saw that molly in hand is like, oh, this is the clutch moment. If he chucks it on that crate, force him away from the crate, shoot him down because he has the high ground advantage, which is so good in third-person perspective. That was, in my opinion, the clutch factor. If Goto went for it, but I don't know what the game plan was at the time. It's like focusing on the other player, just on the off angle, which didn't even have information on. I know I'm being very critical here for Campus Series, but I do think that was one play that could have rewarded them with a win. But I think at the end, it's fair to say that Team Aces still done enough in this game where I do think that top 8 is a very clear option for them available here. So really good from Team Aces, but at the end it's going to be Deadly Divs that have fought through thick and thin in the northern side to be able to get themselves the win on Miramar. And there's only one Miramar, so they made it count.
Yep, they definitely did. And of course, you know, we really seeing a few teams starting to step up, but looking at where that zone had gone, right? It was so challenging. And this is what I like about the zones, you know, moving down towards the southern side. Yes, we don't have waterways and bridges really to worry about like we have on Erangel, for instance. But just looking at the complexity this terrain gives to these teams, just how difficult it is for them to find a good position. Because I mean, one zone you could have high ground and it is fantastic. Then the zone shifts, and then that high ground position is your worst nightmare. And that's what we saw happening right here. And I do think, I really do think it makes it so interesting and challenging for these teams to try and cope with all these, you know, surprises that they are being dealt.
Yeah, big copium at the end of that game, that's for sure. Unfortunately, no win for Team Aces, but still a valiant effort. And congratulations also to Deadly Divs for securing their first win. Maybe not the first, only the first. Maybe they'll get himself another one for our next game. That's going to be on Sanhok. If you want to catch up on our next game on Sanhok, go nowhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes after this break for our third and final game of the day for Group A.
The first two maps right here on the North America Campus Series already concluded. We're getting ready to move into our final match, at least for the players coming in from Group A. So far, Erangel, Miramar popping off. And of course, now we're getting ready to move into the jungle to see what the teams are going to be bringing in on the very sweaty Sanhok.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a close one for sure right now. I'm really intrigued to know if we're going to be looking at the overall rankings before going into the game, because I think that's pretty important to see. Because, hey, the cool thing about this, right, is that even if you had two absolutely horrendous, I mean horrible, I mean, God, okay, that was a swear word I was going to say. It's really bad, okay? If you imagine a really bad two first games, you can still qualify with just one good performance in the third game. So anyone can still make it here to the Campus Series Season 2 of North America in the finals. So we'll have to see how it's going to go. As I hear in my headset right now, that was my head, but in my headset, that we are going to be looking at the overall rankings to see where things are at. And man, my predicted bubble, DK, it's way further off than I expected of 25 points. Like, man, the sponge at the top is insane. Like 22, 20, 14, 12, 11, 10. Like, man, give some of those points to the other teams. They need it. What the hell?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to see, of course. And also now we have our match rankings coming on through. The players here from the Deadly Doves picking up their 15 points. Not quite sure where the eliminations went, but either way, it's there, right? So we saw from the overall rankings that the teams have been doing pretty good so far. Now we get to see what they're going to be bringing in, moving into that final match. And I do say this is, as you said, also now there's going to be a great opportunity for the teams to get a lot of that aggression coming in towards Sanhok, because we know that is pretty much what the map allows a lot for.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I am a very big critique of disliking when a big stage of the tournament ends on Sanhok. Reason why Sanhok, what do you see? Your third parties. You see horrible circle shifts. You see potential hot drops, you see snakes, and also you do, well, I mean, the main issue with Sanhok, right, is you're going to have the heal-offs. So I think that if a lot of these players here that are that have potentially watched the competitive scenes, watched PMPL, watched how teams and play on Sanhok and how the meta goes on the map, I think that just one team that decides to go for full-on heal-off here and go for second or third place, that could be enough for them to qualify. I mean, you saw right now the bubble to qualify in top 8 is 4 points. I'm expecting that to increase. We're probably not going to reach the 25-point barrier that I expected, right? I'm completely off when it comes to that. But, I mean, a heal-off strat is what I'm expecting to see here if some teams have done their research as to how Sanhok is played in competitive.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, definitely. And, you know, we've seen teams come in with a heal strat being their main objective. And then we've got other teams where heal strat is their kind of plan B should their main objective not work out. So ideally, we'd like to see the teams opting maybe for the latter instead of the former, but you know, all we can do is wait and see what their tactics will be once they make their way through. But it being Sanhok is going to allow for a lot of that hard drop action to come on through, because we have 18 teams making their way in on towards the battlefield. And of course, without much further delay, we are now going to be heading straight in to Sanhok to see what that flight path is, where the zone is going to be going, and of course also more importantly where the teams will be dropping down.
I mean, it was in the flight path, like, nobody really cares, you know, about the flight path that much, because it's Sanhok, it's a 4x4 map, and it doesn't really do too much. Only thing it really allows you to get a little bit faster to your drop location. That's where it can really help you just a little bit. Though, looking for the drop locations, doesn't seem like we're going to have a hot drop in boot camp, which is what I was potentially expecting. But Camp Alpha, though, here, DK, we are seeing some action, it seems. A 4v4 potential fight over there. We'll have to see if we move there early on. Though over to this side of, side of Ruins, southwest of Ruins right now, we're going to be seeing actually 3 teams taking the fight over there. Kamikaze's going to be there, Corey also, and the side of Super Kid with his super nades are also going to be in play, it seems. So, man, we're having some hot drops, some 3-way fights actually in some of these positions, and man, this early game is sure to be interesting.
Yeah, definitely will be. So Tambang going to be pretty hot and sweaty. We've, as you've already said, a little bit of action coming in there towards Camp Alpha as well. But now, right, it is up to UTG, RGE, and the players from Unique Legacy to try and kind of fight their way through the lovely camp to see who's going to be the team to walk out in one piece on the opposite end. It also seems like we've got a few AFK players, as we did see a little bit of them just hanging down on those parachutes. But now well, this is going to be a great opportunity, right? The players here from UTG have the numbers advantage from what we can see coming into Camp Charlie, or Camp Alpha rather, but all they got to do now is just try and line up those hits.
Yeah, try and line things up. We'll have to see how good these will go. Unique Legacy. Got to be a little bit careful. There's Jasper was from RGE. There was a potential third party. You know, he's got himself a good little compound to get loot from, so you never know how things will go. Duck, though, with the QBU. Himself a nice sneaky shot in. And that will allow the UTG International to really try and close that gap, get even closer to their foes. Let's see how things are going to pan out. Godlike does get resed up, which is always a good thing, especially when you have a name like that, but so far things off to a little bit of a standoff. A little bit of a standoff and a standby as teams are waiting to go for the angles, and you can see right here, DK, that UTG are trying to just wrap around these two players to really try and press their man advantage, and that's going to make it very hard for Unique to really escape and slither out of this fight.
Yeah, I do think it's a really good strategy coming through from them, but they also still have to be very watchful of Jasper. We have holding up on the high ground there, because Jasper's actually in a beautiful position to just rain down a lot of terror on both these teams currently positioned up in towards Camp Alpha. But now it does seem like Unique are going to be looking to just rotate within the building, maybe making their way on towards that northern side. But I'm loving the approach coming here from UTG as they now push up quite aggressively, looking to rush and flush them out. There we go. Godlike gets traded. Now it is down to Mickey, the final hopeful rather for the players here of Unique. It's only going to take a few plays, a few pushes to come through, but so far Mickey got the one, and down they go. UTG getting a beautiful start now coming through for them right here on Sanhok.
Bomba shredding the competition in this early fight in Camp Alpha, getting himself with a double knock right off the bat, and actually more than double knock, a double elimination. So really good start from them. Those 2 points could be their ticket. It's half of the point bubble that we have right now, right, to qualify in top 8 here, DK. So those 2 eliminations might be the reason why you see them make it into the finals here of Season 2 of the Campus Series of North America. Though, game changers. Sure, I've been changing the game at a pretty decent pace, but Team GS are currently playing towards Camp, I was going to call it Camp Beta, but we'll go with that one for now. I like that name. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's fine because we can see all the needed information is there, right? Everyone knows which map which position on the map we're talking about. But look at the setup coming through from RGE, though, right? We did see them also dropping on towards that western coastline, but now they've been able to wrap themselves all the way around, moving up into the hills, and now they've got quite a controlling position potentially down onto the players there from UTG.
I think it is a little too far for Wolf, though. I'm not going to lie. QB is, you know, a very good weapon. But I think the moment you take those shots, you're not going to be able to hit the next 2-3 bullets to get the knock. So, yeah, you never know. Could put a little bit more pressure down. We'll have to see, though. KP of Team JS is going to be secured away. Locked up. Back to prison you go. And actually, you're done for the day because that was the final game. There you go. That's the thing, right? You hit the spray. You might hit the first bullet on that spray, but unless you're going for the one tap, so you have yourself a Mini 14 or like just some long range weaponry, I'm not really too confident you can actually hit those shots. So now information has been given away. That means the UTG International will be a lot more wary of their next rotation.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to trying to take these hits from all the way up high. And, you know, looking at the position of UTG, they could actually still look to leverage that somewhat, as they know that RGE, they have to kind of move back from the ledge to reposition themselves a little bit further. But now it's all down to whether or not RGE is going to be looking to keep the pressure on towards UTG. And of course, the rest of the lobby is still making their way through. Already 2 teams getting sent on back. We've got the players here from 4Piece, also just holding up in towards the Trifecta region. So curious to see where the other teams are, you know, whether we've got teams sitting up in towards Painan, whether we've got teams, you know, closer towards that bootcamp side, or even on the bootcamp hills just south of that. As we know, that is usually quite a contentious region, as the teams use that kind of as a transit way to get from the one side to the other side.
Yeah, Trifecta is just one of the best positions. It's my favorite location on this map currently, if you're going to make the rotation happen. Let's see, one of the teams conquested their name tag, but make the rotator away from Trifecta, so now they're going to be committing to the northwestern island, which I think quite a few teams are trying to do. You can even see the red team up north right next to Hatin, also doing a very similar rotation. One of the best spots in this circle, when you know, is not a fact, it's not factual right now, but it's a very big chance, I think it's fair to say, that we're going to have a northwestern island finish, where RGE currently are playing, is the best position by far, in terms of information, and how he can also play the later game stage. This is the best position in this circle, but the main issue here, GK, is you have to go for a wide split if you want to be able to defend it, get the information, and know when teams are pushing on you. That is also the main weakness. If a team decides to push onto Jasper's position, he's solo. If your team is not fast enough, there's not enough communication, you're done. You lose a play for free, and then the man advantage is lost. So, RGE, love the position, just be careful, because you never really know when there might be a sneaky snake in the background, like, willing to take that position.
Yeah, and already we can see Wolf now potentially having an opportunity there to get a good swing at that, but also the rest of the teams are going to continue to make their pushes further in towards zone. We did hear Jasper now tapping off in the direction of UTG. We also saw that coming through on the map. But what I'm interested now is, that rush coming in from the Blues. Got a few teams still looking to find their way in, and one of the teams we did see there is going to be the players from the hit list looking to make their way on through there, of course, fighting it out with the players there from FBO. And, this being Sanhok, that blue zone, it's so devastating. But again, the teams need to try and kind of get themselves out of those engagements, get themselves repositioned back in towards zone. And it does seem like that is what's potentially on the books here now for the hit list.
Yeah, also we did see a lot of water actually still in play for this phase 2. And one thing that we didn't even talk about just yet, DK, right, is botations. I mean, they're pretty common, even for the top players in the world right now, to go for botate on Sanhok. It is a valid option if you know your limits when it comes to it. Normally you want to try and play around the 400-meter mark away from the coast. That is typically where you like to see teams and players go for. But that could be an option. You never know. That could be your ticket to make it to the top 8, to make it to the finals here of the campus series. But Jack G, that's a nice name. I don't know. It's got a nice ring to it. It rolls off the tongue literally, but he's going to be going for his solo rotate into the circle with that trusty motorbike. And will be normally able to get himself a decent position to call home for now, but him rotating this late, scouting might not be of the hour, so you never know. Might be caught out mid-rotate. Hopefully, he'll be able to find a decent spot.
Yeah, only time will tell what the RNG gods have in mind for them. But we also did see that lovely drop now coming through right in front of the players there from RGE. Meanwhile, it is going to be Mavericks. Still just taking a little bit more of a cautious approach, just, being positioned along the waterway there. And I like that setup to a certain degree, right? Because at least for the most part, you've got an easy line of sight coming onto the water, so that's not going to be too much of a worry. You can have one, maybe two players focusing on that side and the rest of the squad looking inwards to where you suspect other teams to be positioned. But of course, also now the players here from SGHS who's sitting over onto that southern side of the northwestern island. So a few interesting positions really being occupied by the teams, but I mean, SG, they've not really moved from this position. What we have, however, seen was the players there from Kamikaze now looking to push in there as well.
Oh, we'll have to see, though. Currently on this position, going to have a few fights going back and forth. SGHS going to have to go for their res, while Deadly Divs going to try and call dibs on the next few eliminations if they can. But so far, off to a slow start. You know what? For us going into a Sanhok game here, GK, with 18 teams, not gonna lie, pretty slow start. A lot slower than I really initially expected, so just something to keep in mind. Now SGHS still on the prowl, waiting for the information, but so far we're a little bit of a standoff as we wait for the next circle shift to come up in the next minute or so.
Oh, well, we were talking about those botations a little bit earlier, right? So both teams, the Deadly Divs and Kamikaze, came in with their botations to get themselves situated on towards that western side. So it's good to see a little bit of that fighting now starting to break on out as Kane does tap away on towards Bobo, but it is going to be SX just keeping a very watchful eye on the players not too far away. That is, of course, going to be the players there from the side of SGHS. But look at the slow, steady approach coming through from Voltrux. Need to see if they can find Kane out in the open. Meanwhile, the engagements continue to pop off elsewhere in the map as well.
No, SWAT 69, you guys got to qualify, you got to make it happen. So to pop it again! He hasn't even had the chance to play. Let him play some PUBG Mobile, goddammit. Ah, I'm not liking this. This is like the worst timeline. To see it taking a few shots here and there, making sure they can't go for the res. The elimination has now been confirmed, so that's it. Semifinal out of the game, though, over to another fight. And we talked about it. How are you going to be able to defend it? Darko B, you're solo currently. You got the high ground advantage. That's great, but you need the communication. You need the rest of the team, and Jasper is there to back him up. Now serving in that position on the western side. You can't make it away from that position. No way, Jose. And that's 3 easy eliminations there, DK. Going away of RGE, and man, Jasper on the prowl, joined in the right time and made sure that there was no way they're going to control the north.
Yeah, so definitely we can say communication being on point coming through there for the players of RGE. But now it is going to be the players of UTG being put to the test, as we've got Cloud69 looking to push on through. We got Virgil looking for something in the grass. Maybe a bit of a res, we don't know. Of course, now making their way right back up into the lobby. And with that, Cloud69 getting reduced down to potentially 1 if Halkerd is going to be the last remaining player. Ooh, FS, though, blowing up their own teammates and also picking up a little bit of that hit coming through on towards Hitless. But, oh, that feed now looking quite devastating for a lot of our teams.
That's a little bit of a rip we're seeing right now. Even some players, I think I saw a player just drown right there for a second. So yeah, the rotations seem like have a good side and also a very dark, ominous side to them. So you might want to be a little bit careful how you pull those off. So OTG International, they're still chilling in their camp alpha for the longest time. This is not even camping. They're just building an entire T3 home right now. They got all the materials. They're going for it, man. They got the plans ready. Cool blueprints. I'll call them if I want to get a house built in the future. We'll see, we'll see. Right now, jumping down, Cute Bear. Probably still didn't enjoy my comment about his first aid kit earlier, so I'm sorry, but it could have been better. Could have been good.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cute Bear now going to try and play a little bit of a shot there on towards Rohan. We see just looking to surface, but of course now it is going to be the players also then from the hit list looking to apply their own bit of pressure coming in from that southern side. And right behind them, Core Esports also going to be looking to cross over that bridge. So maybe not a bad position for Cute Bear to be in, as we can see. Core, they're looking to find that rotation. Kuzi now on foot, looking to maybe push across the bridge, but meanwhile, it is going to be Trixie now getting knocked out as Kane comes swinging through with a few of those hits, and UTG starting to make their pushes out of this camp alpha position.
Oh, nice nade, though. Didn't get it confirmed, though, apparently. We didn't see him pop ready in the kill feed, so seemed like he was able to hide behind the other side of the tree in due time. Information is still going to be granted, and Kamikaze knows the cavalry is due. The cavalry is coming up, and he's trying to escape, but unfortunately doesn't look on his backside. JP taking some severe suppressing shots here. King gonna have to go for his first aid. Only has 1 more remaining, so his resources are now limited, and we are counting time before he potentially gets taken away. Oh, JP is just really relentless on those shots. He really does not like that tree. But so far, so good for all of the teams, as now the cross has been happening for SGHS. They make it up there as a 4-man crew, but information has been missing. They have no info on where the other teams are, so they'll literally walk in blindfolded in the next few minutes.
Oh, and that is going to be quite a tough play for them, as you can see. Super Kid, Cutie Pie, Super Mario all still trying to make a bit of a stand. That blue zone now catching up with them as well, and of course the pressure being dialed in there from the hitless coming in from that southern side. But now they got to find a way to get themselves situated and also trying to alleviate a little bit of this pressure coming in from behind. Trickster now going to be cooking up the nade, and with that, picks up Super Mario. A near effortless nade getting sent across, just pinpoint accuracy. Not quite sure whether or not Trickster planned for that, but either which way, that was so beautiful to see. And now Voldrax sending out a nade, but at the last moment sending it into another direction. So completely missing the aim right there on towards Kane.
Yeah, I mean, hey, DK, you know the game rule. If you make a good play and it wasn't intentional, just say it was intentional. Kids just like, yeah, I intended for that. That was all me, guys. That was all me. Please, like, don't worry about it. I do that every day. That's how it goes. That's what I do. That's probably why people don't like playing with me. But we'll see. That's another topic for another day. Deadly Divs still playing on their western side. Now the circle's going to start moving against them. So crossing the road, going uphill, all that stuff is going to have to happen pretty damn soon. UTG International, though, trying to make the deadly cross. What a spray from Wolf on the QBZ. Really good stuff. But they're also on the receiving end of the shot of deadly divs. So I think it's fair to say this is probably the end of the road of most of the players of UHG. But I see one player in the background that might commit to a heal-off. And I think that for now, for this team, the heal-off might just be the best option here for Bomba to try and get his team into the top 8.
Yeah, definitely going to have to try and make sure that they can get those health bars kind of fixed on up. Meanwhile, it is now going to be the players here from 4Ps looking to see which approach they'll be taking to get themselves a little bit more secured coming into the zone. Now, the bike clutching out a little bit there, bringing in a few interesting noises coming in alongside that. Meanwhile, Wolf will be falling off of a height, and this is where the position for RTG is now still very spread out, but at this point they should have already looked to condense that position a little bit more, looking at the number of teams who got pushing in, because now they're suffering because they can't tend to their own players. Dark OP now also very separated from any potential reinforcements as the nades come through once again, and now it all comes down to their final hopeful, which is going to be TG, also positioned quite some distance away on the outside of that zone.
Yeah, that push was free for Mavericks. RG, as you said, should have condensed their location, should have got a little bit more in group and in pack to take this fight, because that was easy. That was a breeze for Mavericks Esports to take that position away and get that extra elimination. Though, they're now going to be sneaking into the eastern side. There's one compound that is currently left, and it's the compound of Old Gangsters. These are your potential contenders for the win here on game number 3, aka the last game of the day for Group A semifinals and Campus Series. But things are going to go to a little bit of a halt as teams are just crawling their way into the circle. We have 7 teams still alive. Currently in circle, I can see 4, potentially even can say 5 was TG, but he's spotted away and taken down. So that means I believe 1 team is potentially healing somewhere, but we just can't see him.
Oof. I mean, now down to our final 5 teams, right? We got Mavericks just positioned up ahead there of Core. All our teams now, aside from Hellcourt, being positioned in the zone. So a definite bit of a heal strat coming through there for Cloud69. But the rest of the teams now focusing on each other as the confirmation comes through. Down to 4 teams we go. Now, players here from the Old Gangsters can look to just, maintain the aggression and the defensive positions up the hill while the rest of the teams get a little bit closer to each other. We could see a few of those back and forths now coming through as we have the players from Core now turning their attention on towards the Mavericks. There we go, those eliminations finding their way on in. Duck now also getting traded, and it is going to be Quads, the last hopeful for the side of Core, left to try and find a way back up into a zone. But I'm liking this approach coming in from 4Ps, looking to push in right behind the players there from the Old Gangsters, and the eastern side is looking pretty tough.
Yeah, I gotta say though, Mavericks are looking heated, they're looking good, they're looking spicy as can be. If that's even a sentence, I don't know, but we'll go with it. It's OnlyFans. Didn't even know it was called like that, but okay, that just got me. That's just got me for a swivel. Interesting. Trying to wait around the corner here. Teams once again a little bit of a standstill. No Name gets rid of a little bit of his loot there. The gas can, don't want that gas can to explode. Might want to get away from it, No Name, or at least put it in your inventory, because that could be some unnecessary damage if a nade comes by. They go, they're pushing up all around that gas can, which could be what's getting a big downfall. I'm a little bit scared of that can, but we'll see how things are going to pan out. Gunda waiting around the corner with his trusty AKM, waiting for his time to strike, but he hears the nades, he hears the pins going. He knows exactly where he is. He's trying to push around, but there's no window, so he can't really get the info. So he's just trying to play for the long game before going for the adrenaline shot and before he commits for the push.
Oh, and this is such a risky and quite nerve-wracking position for the Mavericks now to look to play. We've got OnlyFans and Gunda now holding up right here on the very edge. They don't want to get themselves exposed, just trying to inch their way forward. Now, the players here from 4Ps done with doing the can dance, and up comes the rush now. The OnlyFans moves on in, picks up the first knock. Would he get the second? Yes, indeed. OnlyFans succeeds, but now 4Ps looking to rush straight up in with a third party. It is now OnlyFans left to try and defend. Up comes 4Ps, just hopping all over those windows, trying to reach on in. And OnlyFans is the last one left for Mavericks. It's OnlyFans in between. And down they go. 4-piece pick up the winner chicken dinner. What a beautiful play that was coming in. Well done.
Yeah, really good stuff on 4-piece, controlling all of that western side. I mean, it was a pretty straightforward game, right? They were like, okay, we're just going to wait for the teams to fight things out inside the building. And when the fight breaks out, we're going to third party. We're going to use that man advantage to our advantage. And good old thing here to see how things planned out. So yeah, good for 4-piece. And we'll have to see if that was potentially enough for them to qualify. But I think it might have just been the case there, DK.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? Because it's so close. We see a lot of teams really stepping up with the aggression, and we saw actually quite a lot of points being brought in by several teams making their way into those later few phases. And of course, it was quite a successful run then coming through for Core. We had the players from Mavericks. I mean, Core, they were sitting on 6 eliminations at one point. So that is definitely a good point, a good place, at least for them to be at. So it's going to be exciting to see what those results will hold. But of course, we have to wait. We're going to have to wait a little bit because we know the scoreboards will be published on social media on the PUBG Mobile NA site. So be sure to head on over there to see what those results will be. But for now, I mean, a pretty satisfying Sanhok coming in.
Yeah, pretty satisfying. Sanhok, really enjoyed it. I think that we had some good rotations, gave me even more hype to see what these teams of Group A will be able to bring into the finals that will be happening next week. But with that said, that's it for myself and DK. Thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out today's broadcast of the semifinals of Group A for the Campus Series North America session of Season 2. As we said, and already as DK mentioned here, all of the information about today's matches, including the overall rankings, will be posted on the PUBG Mobile Esports NA social media. So go check it out on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, etc. The info will be posted over there. And with that said, myself and DK are hyped to see you guys hopefully tomorrow for day 2 of the semi-finals for Group B, to see which 8 teams will be making it to the finals. Be there, be square.